From LSD to mushrooms and beyond, psychedelics have been intertwined with the human experience since time immemorial. These mind-altering substances trace deep into our history, predating our species itself. With a presence that spans epochs, our relationship with psychedelics is as complex as it is profound. As we uncover their role in shaping our past and society today, the burning question remains: just how much of an impact did psychedelics have on early humans? Recent studies seem to claim that these substances, in fact, played a significant role in the evolution of our ancestors. However, nothing can prepare you for just how massive this role was in shaping who we are today. So, what did early humans do with psychedelics? How did these substances influence their biology? And is it possible that we only stand here today because our ancestors put a mushroom in their mouths? Stay tuned to find out. In 2022, research by the Columbia University Irving Medical Center found that over 5.5 million US adults use hallucinogenics. The study discovered that the LSD use rate of adults in the country had increased from 0.9% in 2002 to 4% in 2019, which is a staggering 344.44% increase in 17 years. Another independent study discovered that psilocybin mushrooms were the most used psychedelic substance in the United States, with their popularity overshadowing other psychedelic drugs such as MDMA, popularly known as ecstasy. But what are psychedelics, and why do so many people seem to love them regardless of the risk they pose to their health? To put it simply, psychedelics are a class of psychoactive substances that can alter a person's perception, mood, and even cognitive behavior. These substances include the likes of LSD, also known as acid, psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms, DMT, and mescaline. But how do they work? Well, the effects of these substances all boil down to human biology. Like clockwork, these substances primarily act on serotonin receptors in the brain, which are crucial for regulating mood, cognition, and perception. Essentially, by interacting with these receptors, they cause significant changes in consciousness, perception of reality, and emotional experiences. These changes can then manifest as heightened sensory perception, an altered sense of time, intensified emotional responses, and changes in the perception of one's surroundings. Generally, the effect of these substances vary depending on the specific substance and dosage, but they usually involve profound shifts in mood, thought patterns, and the overall subjective experience of reality. Today, despite the potential health risks, including but not limited to psychological distress and the worsening of mental health conditions, psychedelics still manage to attract many people for several reasons. In modern times, their major allure has come primarily from their ability to induce profound spiritual experiences, so much so that they're increasingly studied for their therapeutic potential in treating conditions like depression and PTSD. On the flip side, people who use psychedelics recreationally do so in search of the good feelings and mind changes they bring. Today, these drugs are tied to movements that go against normal culture, promising freedom and different ways of looking at things. But it wasn't always this way. See, the first psychedelics in various forms, such as plants like peyote and mushrooms containing psilocybin, have existed for thousands of years and have evolved side by side with us. For example, peyote has been used for its psychoactive effects in rituals and spiritual practices among Native American tribes in North America for centuries. Psilocybin mushrooms, too, have been similarly used in rituals by indigenous peoples in Mesoamerica for possibly thousands of years. In Africa, one of the most notable examples is the use of the root bark of the iboga plant, which contains ibogaine, a powerful psychoactive substance. It was used and is still being used in spiritual ceremonies and healing rituals by the Bwiti religion in Gabon, Cameroon, and the Congo. In Asia, Amanita muscaria, a type of mushroom with psychoactive properties, has been used in Siberian shamanic practices, while practices of using certain plants and herbs with mind-altering effects have been documented in traditional Chinese and Indian medicine. Recent studies have even shown that these substances were integral parts of different ancient societies for as long as the societies themselves have existed. Today, scientists are discovering that psilocybin, the active compound in magic mushrooms, has been around much longer than previously thought. Recent research has now shown that psilocybe fungi, the genus that produces psilocybin, originated around 65 million years ago, around the time of the asteroid impact that caused the mass extinction of the dinosaurs. Studies have also found that psilocybin's genetic makeup evolved through multiple gene transfers over millions of years, suggesting a complex evolutionary history. Besides the shock of how old psychedelics are, One thing this research proves is that they were older than our ancestors and would have existed throughout the evolution of our species. So the question stands, did early men use magic mushrooms? The short answer to this question would simply be yes, and thanks to modern archaeology, scientists can take a brief look into the past as to when the substances were used. Among the oldest documented evidence of human interaction with psychedelics are psilocybin-containing mushrooms. Evidence of their use came from the Sahara Desert's Tassili Niger region in Algeria. Here, prehistoric paintings from 6000 to 4500 BC depict human figures holding mushrooms, with dotted lines extending to their heads, possibly indicating awareness of the mushroom's psychoactive effects. However, this isn't the only place with evidence of these mushrooms, as across the Strait of Gibraltar, similar iconographic evidence was found in Spain's Selva Pascuala site from around 4000 BC, suggesting a long-standing cultural and spiritual association with these magic mushrooms. Moving on from magic mushrooms, another piece of evidence of psychedelic use comes from archaeological findings in Texas and northern Mexico, where researchers have unearthed peyote buttons dating back at least 5,700 years. For context, the peyote is a small, spineless cactus that contains psychoactive alkaloids such as mescaline. This mescaline was confirmed by chemical analyses to be the active psychedelic compound in the unearthed artifacts. Besides that, scientists now believe the cave paintings in Texas and California, dated between 2200 and 750 BC, also suggest the influence of peyote visions on the painters, suggesting that the plant held cultural significance for the early inhabitants of the area. Peyote, however, isn't the only plant containing mescaline that ancient humans used, as evidence now suggests the use of San Pedro cactus containing mescaline dates back over 10,000 years. Evidenced by pollens found in Cueva del Guitarrero in Peru, scientists have reason to believe that iconographic depictions in ancient Peruvian cultures, such as those in Chavén de Huantar from 750 BC, illustrate the plant's ritualistic and symbolic importance. These depictions often associate the plant with supernatural beings like felines or snakes, highlighting its cultural significance and the psychedelic nature of the plant. Another psychedelic substance discovered to be used by ancient humans is the extremely dangerous ergot. While it is primarily known for its toxic effects, the ergot fungus actually contains psychoactive alkaloids. Nonetheless, researchers were shocked when fragments of ergot sclerotia dating back to the 4th to 2nd century BC were found in a temple in Mas Castellar in Spain. This case was especially shocking, as it potentially indicated its use in the Eleusinian mysteries Kykeon, a visionary drink associated with ancient Greek religious practices and supposedly a favorite drink for peasants. Evidence also suggests harmel seeds, containing harmine and hermeline, were also used by early humans, as they've been found in Neolithic sites in the Caucasus dating back to the 5th millennium BC and in pre-dynastic Egypt around 3700 to 3500 BC. This plant, possibly linked to the Zoroastrian drink of immortality, haoma, also appears in the ancient Mesopotamian Giraffe culture's funerary artifacts. Jimson weed, known for its powerful psychoactive effects, was also frequented, as archaeological evidence from the Bronze Age includes Datura stramonium seeds found in a terracotta pot in Andorra, dated to 1700 BC, and at an ancient site in Hungary. Not to mention the fact that 9th century statues of Shiva and ancient texts hint at Datura's presence in Europe and Asia even before Columbus discovered America. Another psychedelic used is the fly agaric, known by its red cap with white spots. Used therapeutically today as a sleep aid, this psychedelic is depicted in prehistoric rock engravings in Central and Northern Asia. These mushroom men figures date back to 1500 to 1000 BC and are found in places like the Yenisei, Altai, and Siberia, suggesting they were used in shamanic rituals. As we continue to dig up the past, scientists are more and more confident that these substances have been part of our societies since we figured out how to become a society. But pushing the boundary of understanding further, some scientists believe we evolved to be intelligent enough to create societies because of psychedelics. Named the stoned ape theory, the idea was put forward by Terence McKenna in the early 1990s and proposed that psychedelic mushrooms, specifically those containing psilocybin, played a pivotal role in the evolution of human consciousness. Although it might sound absurd, McKenna suggested that early hominids, such as Homo erectus or early Homo sapiens, encountered and consumed these mushrooms, which he argued had neurogenic effects, promoting neural growth and enhancing cognitive abilities. McKenna's theory centered on the idea that psilocybin mushrooms could have provided evolutionary advantages by improving visual acuity, which would have been beneficial for hunting and gathering. Additionally, he proposed that the use of psychedelics facilitated social cohesion, language development, and cultural advancement among early human communities. Essentially, he claimed the substances not only directly played a role in our biological evolution, but also were the glue that held early societies together and led to the development of language. Essentially, we are who we are now because of psychedelic mushrooms. Initially, the stoned ape theory was deemed controversial within the scientific community as critics pointed to a lack of direct archaeological evidence linking early humans to psychedelic mushroom consumption. However, with the evidence of today, the theory has been challenged for its speculative nature and for not meeting the rigorous standards of scientific hypothesis testing. Because of their speculative nature, alternative explanations such as environmental pressures and social dynamics are often considered more plausible drivers of human cognitive evolution. While the theory has sparked ongoing debate and exploration into the potential impacts of psychedelics on human development, it's not widely accepted as a definitive explanation without substantial empirical evidence to support its claims. Be it the 1st or the 21st century, psychedelics remain a major part of who we are as humans. They've shaped our history and our beliefs and evolved side by side. Whether you love them or hate them, there's no denying that these mind-altering substances are one of the oldest pieces of evidence of the human experience. But what do you think? Were psychedelics really a staple of our past? Do you think they played a role in our evolution? If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe. Have any thoughts or questions? Leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.